sound kind of like the Jamaican accent.
Yeah, they sound kind of Jamaican, but also their own little thing going on. But yeah, both of them.
My sister's in the Dominican Republic right now. It's a little further south, I think. Than Trinidad? Oh, maybe, oh, that's right. It's more in the Caribbean. I've never been to the Caribbean. There's that ugly piece. Have you been to the Caribbean?
Aruba?
I'd rather go to like Bora Bora. Somewhere really far. But then I get to do the plane.
Oh, yeah, paradise. Yeah, my friends spare time.
So random. Well, the airlines are going to be going down. I got a friend just canceled.
How they treat people that ends up affecting their service.
One of my friends just canceled a flight to Cancun.
South by Southwest
I know.
just got canceled.
I know. I saw it earlier today.
It's nice.
You what?
High tolerance. It's fair. Product. It's like, oh, all right.
Honey.
That's what I think. I mean, it doesn't help the consciousness to me.
Yeah, and then I'll go back to
They have to find a vaccine.
That's a family.
Yeah, Kylo, I don't see. Right. And then
Right. Well, don't touch your face.
Zach
That's
Blackman.
number one.
He's here tomorrow.
I saw the funniest Larry David thing. Well, you can watch it.
Is there?
oh,
Don't
I
touch it
know.
with your
That's the
fingers.
mom who's a yes man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Margie's kid. Okay, so we have Zach. And why is it Emily Levine? Is she coming?
Oh, because I think her bat mitzvah was here last week.
I don't think she was.
I can kind of give you the one.
I will not. I'll kiss you next time. That's $100
If I
grand.
say like one,
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the three big ones.
I'm gonna say one, which is the bar before we get met every time.
If they were to close it all, it would only be on the first
On the last day.
day. So I don't know the calendar for next year, but there's no reason we close them pretty much intermediary
Yeah.
business.
I think so.
There should be a sukkah
I'm not
at
really,
the
I don't
school
really know the chart that
for
well.
the kids who want to eat in the sukkah.
I'll say one.
That's a different matter.
Period. I'll do one.
Well, it's better than closing.
That'll help though, I think. Because there's a repeat in there, that's why. There's that weird slow cycle. Right?
So it's only, do we know if
Let's
she'll
see
come?
what
This is the first I've heard about it.
So maybe
Because her
not.
bat
It could be
mitzvah
an
was
old
last.
I know, it's
last
weird.
Saturday. You know what? It may be. You know? Shabbat shalom. She's home. She's fine. None of those kids who were in Milan or anywhere in Italy, none of them are sick. Not that they
It's
tested them.
possible that Kylo, they're an East Side family. He's probably that would be my guess. Really? Maybe they're just late.
Yeah, that's probably a lot
Marshall
more.
Alexander.
everybody
Yeah.
for the musicians so they know what they're doing.
So the mom, Blackburn is Margie.
Can I get an A again, Chris?
Okay.
No, I haven't gotten a message from Todd. Yeah, I think
Let me keep doing that. Sometimes it works. He'll
it'll
like,
be reasonable.
yep. And then he'll look at me and he's like,
Difference.
It's true. It's very little, and it's 7 more years.
Yeah, I think it's a good deal.
kibitzing.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. Welcome again. Glad everyone's here. Let's just get this out of the way right up front, okay? I'm going to read it right as we wrote it because I'm sure there were many committees that spent many hours for me to issue the following statement. Out of an abundance of caution and to care for all of our health and wellness, we lovingly ask, that sentence took 5 hours of meetings for sure. We lovingly ask that we temporarily refrain from shaking hands, hugging, and kissing each other hello in order to prevent the possible spread of the coronavirus. We have placed tongs next to the food at the oneg, and we ask that you take extra care to use them when taking a piece of challah or a cookie. We all can help prevent the spread of unwanted disease. So, I have read it, I have said it. Those of us who don't just reflexively hug and kiss everyone like rabbis do, we will try to abide by it. No more pulling apart, no more challah pull. I think, honestly, we're looking at a few weeks or a couple of months at worst of this, but we are going to try and make sure everybody's comfortable by limiting the hugging and kissing. So I've been using the World Health Handshake, which is elbow to elbow. And centuries from now, anthropologists will be writing about the ways that Jews greeted each other in America by touching elbows, and there'll be multiple midrashim and explanations about it. But let's all just kind of do our best to take care of each other and watch out for each other, which is, I think, the great opportunity in the midst of all this, is for us to take good care of each other. So let's do that. Now, let's just take a little poll. Who's here? Who's visiting here from someplace other than Los Angeles? Raise your hand. I always like to know. All right, let's start here. Where are you from? New York. Where in New York? Great Neck. Very good. Okay. Who else? Bethesda, Maryland. Berkeley. Okay. Brooklyn. Okay. Philly. Okay, pretty good. Welcome. Glad that you're with us. If you have a cell phone, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you have a cell phone. Keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. Take that hand, reach for your phone, and make sure you turn your phone off, okay? Turn it off. Even if you're sure it's off, just check it one more time so we're not interrupted. And now let's just take a moment. Just meet your neighbors. Behind you, in front of you, left or right. Say hello to your neighbors. Meet each other.
Shabbat shalom. Nobody wants to meet us.
Do you know what is Kylo doing?
We're going to vote together.
All right, let us begin. We've got some beautiful music to start with. Cantor Gurney.
We do. When we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, we are one. That's all you need to know. It repeats a bunch of times. And then just the two words, Shiru Ladonai, we sing to God. You're going to hear a lot of music, as Rabbi Leader just said, from different genres, different countries. All of it is intended for you to sing with us. Even if you don't know the words, you can still sing. Because when we sing, we pray twice. Here we go. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. Try that with me. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. Shirul Adonai, 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 Lai Lai, Lai 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 Lai, Lai 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 Lai, Lai 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 Lai, Lai Lai, Lai 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 Lai, Lai 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 Lai, Lai 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 Lai. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we pray twice. When we sing, when we sing, when we sing, we are one. Page 12, the first of our Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms. Chunaranana Ladonai, come let us sing to God and shout for our rock and our Redeemer. Let's come into God's presence with praise and song. Lechunaranana, this is a Hasidic tune. Lechunaranana, lechunaranana, lechunaranana Ladonai. Lechunaranana, lechunaranana, lechunaranana Ladonai. Naria, Naria, lezor yishenu, ekadem afanav b'todah. Naria, Naria, lezor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechunaranana, lechunaranana, lechunaranana Adonai. Lechunaranana, lechunaranana, lechunaranana Adonai. Naria, Naria, lezor yishenu, ekadem afanav b'todah. Naria, Naria, lezor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechunaranana, lechunaranana, lechunaranana Adonai. Lechunaranana, lechunaranana, lechunaranana Adonai. Shalom Aleichem. We turn ahead to page 24. We greet the angels of Shabbat, page 24. בשערי מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא הקדוש ברוך הוא הקדוש ברוך הוא
I'd like us all to turn now to pages 2 and 3. It's my honor to invite forward the mothers of our B'nai Mitzvah for tomorrow morning. Come on up. They're going to lead us in the lighting and blessing of the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us, generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindled light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Now let's turn back to pages 20 and 21, Lecha Dodi, this beautiful acrostic poem, which my whole life has always meant, yes, Shabbat has really arrived. We stand for the last verse, and we turn and face the entrance to the synagogue like Jews all over the world to welcome Shabbat into our lives, to our families, our hearts, our shul. Tonight we're going to do verses, let's see, how about, let's do verses 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Got it. Okay.
Verses 6, 7, 8, and 9.
This melody is from Morocco. חדותי לירת כלה בנשבת מקבלה חדותי לירת כלה בנשבת מקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקרמי מה תשכחי ומה תמי בך יחסו עניי ימין במדנתה יראתי לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה שבת מקבלה והיו עם שיסה שוסייך ורחקו כל נבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתר עגלה כלה בנשבת מקבלה חדודי מקראת כלה בנשבת מקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי בין פרסי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת כלה בנשבת מקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בנשבת מקבלה שלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצער תוך אמונה עם סגלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בנשבת מקבלה חדודי לקראת כלה בנשבת מקבלה.
Be seated. Chatzi Kaddish, page 26.
נתקדש ונתקדש שמי רבה
Amen.
לעולמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכות וביום אחד ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך, ועל עמולה למיה למיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירם בעלמה ואמרו Amen.
We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 28. Page 30 in the English. Much more than we, our ancestors lived their lives according to the rhythm and flow of nature. And they understood the power and the beauty of that rhythm and flow. And they also understood when that rhythm and flow of nature was interrupted, that their lives were precarious. And so every day they expressed gratitude for the beauty and the wisdom of nature. And we feel that, I think, with this psychologically frightening virus and the news, that somehow it seems to be subverting the natural order and rhythm, power, and beauty of nature. And while that may be frightening, it's also an opportunity for gratitude for the many days and times and years and decades and centuries and millennia during which the rhythm and flow and beauty and power of nature is ours. So let's read this together. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Ma'avir yom u'mevil layla, u'ma'avdil ben yom v'layla, Adonai tzivot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimlach aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, Amari v'aravim. Amen.
Ahavat Olam, page 32.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shotmenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shotmenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha ונשמח, ותברא תורתך, ומצוותיך, לעולם ועד. חיינו באור ימינו, ובהם נגיע בלילה. חיינו באור ימינו, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please join in chanting the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך ושרתם להיות על ידיך והיו עטותפות בין עיניך ונרתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיו, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We read together on page 37.
Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorstep of your house or outside your gate. They are all reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
Michamocha on page 40. There's going to be a new tune for some of you, but you're going to want to sing along, I promise you. Lai 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 lai. One more time. Lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Mi chamocha, mi kamocha, ha'elim Adonai. Nedar v'kodesh, Torah tehilot, oseh telem. Mi chamocha, ha'elim Adonai. Nedar v'kodesh, Torah tehilot, oseh telem. Al kutecha ravanecha, okei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam. Ze Eli anu v'yameru. Mi kamocha, ha'elim Adonai. Nedar v'kodesh, Torah tehilot, oseh telem. Malchutecha ravanecha, כהים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי אנו ויאמרו. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני לעולם ועד. Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, Adonai le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. boka Elim Adonai Edar Bakodesh Torah Tehilot Oseh Bana La 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 la
Yeah. Good.
Let's turn now to page 46. Let's all rise for the Amida.
Adonai sifatav tifta ufi agite hilateha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagivor, El Nora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vechonei Hakol, Vezocher Hasei Avot Ve'imaot, Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Lema Shemot Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Megen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mekayeh al Kol Atah Rav Le'Hoshia Moshiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechakel Hayim Be'esed Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, somek nofim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umidomelah, melech memi. Mechayem, Mumatzmiya Yeshua, V'ne'eman atzal lecha hayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
We continue now with the rest of the Amida silently, pages 52 through 62.
דרכנו לחיים. פרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, פרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Let's turn now to page 253. And in the middle of page 253, you'll find the Misha Berach prayer, this prayer we recite on behalf of people we love who are ill. I can't imagine that your lives are all that different than mine, in the sense that virtually every day, and sometimes multiple times a day, I'll get an email or a text or a call or bump into someone, and the first thing that I learn is that someone is suffering. Some disease, some illness. It's everywhere around us. And it really helps people to know they're being prayed for. I have many, many friends in the evangelical community, and we disagree about many, many, many things. But I will say that when I was physically challenged and when I was spiritually challenged after my father's death, so many of them called me and said, "Steve, I'm praying for you." And it meant a lot. So this is the moment when we pray for the people we love who are suffering some kind of emotional or spiritual or physical ailment. If there's someone on whose behalf you'd like us to sing the Misha Berach tonight, I'm going to ask you to rise, and when I point to you, go ahead and mention the name or the names, and then be seated, and then we'll all join together and we'll sing with Cantor Gurney the Misha Berach, which again is in the middle of page 253.
Sheberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yisheberach imoteinu Mekor HaBracha La'avoteinu. Those in need of healing with refuah shlema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This week's Parsha has a lot of interesting things in it, as they always do. But tonight, we're going to focus on olives. Every week I get an email saying, well, Rabbi, what are you talking about Friday, so I could put it in the email to the congregation. And I said, I'm going to talk about how Jews are like olives. Anybody want to take a guess at how Jews are like olives? We have a hard pit. Yeah. Not bad. The rabbis actually gave this a great deal of thought and used the olive as a metaphor for many important and beautiful things. And here's how we're going to get there. Those of you who are willing to share, I'd like you to think for just a moment about the most difficult thing you ever went through in your life. The single most difficult thing, greatest challenge you ever faced and ever came through in your life. And if you're willing to share what that was or is, if you just raise your hand, and we'll see if we can get 4 or 5 people to share. And then we'll draw the connection between the rabbi's view of the olive, and more particularly olive oil, and human experience, the human condition.
Easy. Becoming an adult and taking responsibility.
Becoming an adult and taking responsibility for?
My life.
Taking responsibility for your life. And I'm not the least bit being glib. What was the end result of that? How did that decision to take responsibility, which was incredibly difficult, what was the result? Of course, you're still living the result, but what was the result of that decision, Barry?
I let go of blaming anybody else for anything that happens. It's my life. It's my responsibility. Live it the way you want it.
How's that turned out?
It's great.
Okay. Anyone else? Linda?
My son's illness, getting through my son's illness.
And how did you do that?
Yeah, he had a bone marrow transplant when he's 18, and he's 42 now, and now he's going through other problems.
So how did that, because I was around for all of this, so I know the answer, but everyone else doesn't. The result of that bone marrow transplant was?
He's alive. Yeah. And they only gave him a 29% survival, so he's still here. But now he's dealing with, brain tumors because of the radiation that he got. So he's already gone through one brain tumor, and he has another one. So,
And
but they're benign, so this is good. They're benign, you know. So we have to be grateful for every day.
that's a very important distinction. And the same thing that enabled you to face that challenge when Marty was 18 is still with you.
I'm grateful every day.
Yeah, so the end result of that challenge was gratitude every day. Marty was one of my youth group kids when I was the young rabbi here, and I was a foot taller and had a lot of hair. Anybody else in this? Okay. I know you all thought of one, but you may not want to share. So, okay, let me get over here. Okay, Chaim David, you ready?
This is not going to be easy. I won't. When I had my bar mitzvah, and you came up to me, and you told me that I used the word Jew a lot in my speech, but you said I'm no longer a Jew. I am now Jewish, because I took on the responsibility about learning and growing, and it's been wonderful ever since.
So the biggest challenge was that bar mitzvah, which was not easy for you. To learn was a huge challenge for Chaim David, and I remember saying to you, you're no longer just a Jew, you're actually Jewish, and there is a difference. To be a Jew is something biological. To be Jewish is to live a certain way, and that's brought a lot of light to you. Anyone else? We'll take one more. Okay, Rick.
In dealing with my son's cancer diagnosis and the stroke, I learned from a very wise young rabbi to learn the difference between an inconvenience and a problem. And I use that daily for the last 26 years.
Yes. Yeah, it's related to Linda's point about gratitude, the difference between a problem and an inconvenience. Yeah. And what has seeing the world in that way, what's been the result of that for you?
I'm much more there when I'm there. I'm more present. I am a better listener. I am more compassionate. And not only with others,
Lisa back from maternity leave this week.
Yay.
Now a mother and a working mother.
A working mother.
All that comes with that.
This week has been a doozy.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all about finding that balance.
Yeah. Purim is starting on Monday night, and there are two important things. There are 4 mitzvot, 4 commandments that come with Purim. One is to hear the Megillah, to hear the story of Purim. Another is to drink excessively, and mostly to wear costumes and to dress up. And then there are 2 that are about gifts. One is mishloach manot, and another is called matanot le'evyonim. This idea that we are supposed to give gifts to our friends and gifts to the poor. And the whole idea is that everyone is supposed to enjoy the joys and the celebration that comes with Purim. And so I think, especially given everything that's going on, that Shabbat should be our Mishloach Manot this week. This idea that Shabbat is the gift not only that we are giving to others, but this is the gift that we're giving to ourselves. That despite all the darkness that's coming around and all the anxiety and the fears, that this is our moment to make that transition to a place of just feeling the gift of being with family or a community, to kind of shift our role into a different mindset. So I really hope that you can see this next hour or so as a gift that you're giving to yourself in preparation for Purim, but just in preparation for what I think for those of us living in LA or wherever we may be living, is probably going to be a long slog of kind of a more and more tightening of what it means to be out in the world. And so as that tightening continues to come around us, I think it's going to be even more important for us to find those little moments of gifts where we can feel as though we can be celebrating something that isn't being taken away from us, but instead something that is adding to our experience. So Shabbat is that chance to give yourself that gift.
In the spirit of that gift, a couple of Torah portions ago, God tells Moses to build a sanctuary so that God can dwell amongst them. It doesn't say in the sanctuary, it says to dwell amongst them, to dwell amongst all of us. And so Shabbat also becomes an opportunity to, if you think of your own selves as a sanctuary, to really center ourselves and to rejoin that holiness that we're given. And so this is a little song called Lord Prepare Me to Build a Sanctuary, because each one of our bodies is a sanctuary, and that God dwells amongst each and every one of us.
just hear from all of you, not just our voices and specifically her voice, which is amazing, but all of ours. So since we just lit candles, and I'll start with you guys, what brought you light to your life this week? So anyone think about this, because after the two of them, I'm going to open it up to anyone else who wants to share a moment of light in their week. Either of you want to share?
Yeah, so I'm visiting from New York, and I'm here with my family, and I'm so happy to be here. So this brought me light tonight, so thank you for having us.
My light is having my sister here for the weekend and spending time with our dad and just quality family time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm here from Minneapolis and visiting my kids that live here. My daughter is getting ready for her bat mitzvah, and we went out getting ready for it today.
Mazel tov and welcome.
I've just been enjoying this wonderful weather here in Southern California.
It's been pretty nice. Supposedly it's supposed to rain this weekend, but at least we had this week to hold on. Anyone else?
My daughter that is something a lot, and also the visit of her grandmother.
Wonderful. So just like we welcome light into the week, the whole idea is we're supposed to welcome the angels of Shabbat with us. So on page 24, we have Shalom Aleichem, this idea that the light combined with this angelic presence is supposed to give us peace and comfort and strength and energy as we go into Shabbat. Angelic presence mixed with a bride coming in to greet Shabbat. So on page 20, we'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
You said so.
Yeah.
5 and 9.
Shabbat.
person is born with that same amount of purity and that same beauty and is in need of that same parental love that we're told that God has for us. And so the piece that we're going to do instead is called Olam Chesed Yibaneh, and it talks about that the way that we're going to build the world that we want to live in is through love. And it's through that same parental, you can do no wrong, I forgive you kind of love that we build the society that we want to be a part of. So the words are Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Olam Chesed Yibaneh.
ignorance, or insensitivity. It is the conquest of sinfulness, of the evils resident within the self, pride, selfishness, hate, lust, cynicism, the deliberate rejection of goodness and truth. Every day, says our tradition, we have to be searching and yearning for salvation, personally and collectively. So we join together, page 40. Related to coronavirus, so I thought I would read one of those as our intro into Hashkivenu, a sense of looking for that shelter. Harachaman, compassionate one, you are Rofecho Basar Maflila, so healer of bodies, who does wondrous deeds. The wondrous bodies that you have made for us now feel more fragile. The openings by which we perceive your world now feel more vulnerable. We are anxious and frightened by the uncertainty of what is to come. We love the lives we lead, and we fear what disruption may come. We love our friends and families and neighbors, our children and our elders, and we fear what illness may come. We pray for healing of body and of spirit, speedy and complete for all those who are ill from the coronavirus, both far and home and close to home. Strengthen the hands of our caregivers. Give of your healing powers to our medical personnel and mental health professionals. Give of your wisdom to our decision makers and public health officials. Strengthen our hearts to confront this challenge. Give us of your discipline that we may not yield to panic and dread, but may protect ourselves with appropriate precaution and calm determination. Forgive us of your compassion that we may not yield to prejudice or bigotry, but may reach out to our neighbors with kindness and solidarity. We are grateful for our bodies and the life you have given us. We are grateful for our communities and congregations who see us and support us. We are grateful for those who are working to protect us, and we are grateful for your love and your sheltering presence. We know we are not alone. Page 42.
Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'aviteinu malkeinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'aviteinu malkeinu
Shomer means to guard. So in addition to protecting ourselves personally and our physical being, the Shomer is this idea that we have to guard this protective mechanism called Shabbat. That every week we need to hold on to this barrier from the ability or the potential to just fall into a rut and go through 7 days a week, 24/7 without this sense of holiness and of separation. And so the Shomer reminds us of our need to guard that holiness. Page 44. traditional, ancient choreography of the
Very much.
We're going to continue with Amidah, begins on page 46. We're going to do page 46 together, and then, as is with some traditional communities on Friday night, we're going to do the rest of the Amidah silently. It goes through page 62, so after our initial opening, just take your own time to offer the prayers of the Siddur, your own private reflection, and then you may sit down whenever you are.
remove those masks and always be true to ourselves. And so this is just a little blessing for all of you that I hope that you can all find your way and be the truest sense of yourself. May I be safe. May I be free. teacher, a friend, someone who brings a smile when we think of them. We open up our hearts and we offer to them a blessing. May you be safe. May you be free. May you find space to just be. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May you find your way back home. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May you find your way back home. We call to mind someone who is difficult to us, someone who's a challenge, someone who we don't understand. We open up our hearts and we offer to them a little blessing. May you be safe. May you be free. May you find space to just be. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May you find your way back home. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May you find your way back home. We call to mind all that is good in this community and the joy that we bring to one another. We open up our hearts and we offer to ourselves a little blessing. May we be safe. May we be free. May we find space to just be. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May we find our way back home. Can you hear our song? Can you hear our song? May we find our way back
Page 253, we have Wilshire Boulevard, always a chance for us to offer a prayer for healing. Honestly, we offer prayer globally of healing for all those affected by the coronavirus and those who may be and not even know it yet. We offer a prayer for healing for this world to deal with the unknown, because it's a very scary thing. We all need that healing and that sense of protection. But specifically for the Wilshire Boulevard, we're going to think of people personally that we're connected to who are in need of healing. So we'll begin together the first stanza, and then we'll pause in between, and I'll just bring my hand around, and if there's someone who you're thinking of specifically who's in need of healing, I'd like you to share their name, obviously, but maybe a little something, if you feel comfortable, about what kind of healing they need, so that we can even be more intentional with the kind of prayers that we're directing.
son, Henry Schmidt, who had hernia issues.
My boyfriend, Matt Brown, who's struggling with the disease of depression and needs healing. And my sister, Jennifer Schneiderman, who is also having like a brain injury that she's struggling with.
Mentioned Purim a couple times, so I just want to take a couple minutes to talk a little bit about Purim. We usually see it as a children's holiday where children get to dress up. Izzy, what are you going to be for Purim? Old grandma costume. Always a classic. So we usually relegate it to children and their adorable costumes. But the rabbis, specifically there was a rabbi, the Vilna Gaon, 18th century Lithuania, who linked Purim to another very significant holiday during the year. Does anyone have an idea or know what that holiday may be? I'll give you a hint. Purim. Any other holiday in our calendar that has Pur as part of its name?
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur. Yes. The Vilna Gaon linked these two holidays because Yom Kippur, there's another name for Yom Kippur, Yom HaKippurim. And there is in Hebrew this idea that ka is sometimes used to say like something else. So ka something is like something else. So Yom HaKippurim is Yom means day, ka Kippurim. Yom, a day like Purim. And this idea that Purim and Yom Kippur are linked. So anyone want to have this idea of what links Yom Kippur and Purim together? They seem vastly different. What?
Probably not.
Definitely not Hamantashen. Right? Yeah.
Deliverance.
Deliverance. Say a little bit more about that.
Deliverance from Haman's punishments.
Great.
Extermination. And deliverance for redemption for your sins.
Great. This idea of deliverance, redemption from our sins, redemption from Haman. Right? Does everyone remember what Purim means? It's always important, by the way. We should go through the holidays and know what they actually mean. The translation of all these holidays is important, right? We usually don't think about that, but you get an actual significant hint to what the holiday is about when you know what the holiday actually means. So Purim means lots, as in lottery, right? The whole idea was that Haman casted lots to see what day the Jews were going to be destroyed, and the day happened to fall on the 14th of Adar. Therefore, Purim was celebrated on that day. And this idea of lottery, this idea that Purim, similar also not only this idea of deliverance, but that both holidays talk about the idea that we might not make it till tomorrow. Right? Purim was this idea that on that specific day, and this is very troubling. You have to imagine back then there was a decree sent out to the kingdom far and wide. You could imagine it would take potentially a month to go all the way out to every community in the kingdom saying, on this specific day, people in your town and in your neighborhood, you're going to go out and kill every Jew you see. Right? And for all the Jews to know that coming up at some point on a specific day, their neighbors were going to come out and try and kill them. And Yom Kippur, similarly, this day where we sing and say, who shall live and who shall die? We have no idea who's going to make it till tomorrow. Right? And the Jews, in both cases, have this anxiety of having no idea what's going to come next. The main difference is how we celebrate that, or how we mark that. Yom Kippur, we take this as a day of solemn reflection. The fact that we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow is our opportunity to go deep into ourselves, to remove all the barriers that get in the way of us reflecting on ourselves. That's why we don't eat. That's why we stay in shul all day. Why we dress in all white. Why we take all the things away to really focus on, if I want to make it to tomorrow, I better be sure that I'm going into tomorrow being the best person I can be, right? Having recognized my flaws, going into tomorrow with that. Purim is the opposite. Purim isn't worried about what happened yesterday. If we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, carpe diem, seize the day, live it up, live it well, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I think it's very important for us to recognize that our tradition values both approaches to the uncertainty of what comes tomorrow. And I think that's very important today, right? I think given what's happening with coronavirus, given what's happening with the state of our country, all of these things, there's a lot of uncertainties, right? And we have a responsibility to go with both paths forward. We have to both look at this like Yom Kippur. We have to look at it as how are we reflecting about our own actions? How are we treating the people around us? How are we setting ourselves up personally and collectively for a future that can be redemptive, where we can find that deliverance? And at the same time, how do we make sure we don't get caught up in kind of a black hole of so much reflection that we become pessimistic, or that we see all of it as just futile and that it doesn't really matter, right? That the Purim approach is that you gotta live it up. Like, we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. We don't know how coronavirus is going to affect this city. Most likely it's going to lead to more and more shutdowns and more of us feeling isolated. And in a couple weeks, it could just be Cantor, Lisa, and I, and we're gonna be live streaming just the service with no one here. I mean, that's already happening in parts of this state, in parts of this country. Schools are doing it. There's a lot of that's going to happen. That fear is going to continue to creep in. But just like those Jews around Purim, right? What? No, we can't let that fear get to us, right? So Purim is even when you know that there is an anxiety about what the future holds and you don't know what's going to happen. We have to take on this celebratory essence that is key to the Jewish experience. This idea of hope and aspiration and optimism, that our responsibility to taking care of one another, that this sense of making sure that even if we have to be physically isolated from one another, we have a responsibility to care for one another. And in today's day and age, with social media and technology and phones and texting, there are lots of ways where we can stay intimately connected to people, even if we physically can't be close to them. So Purim reminds us, and especially coming Monday night, whether you show up to a Purim celebration or not, and as we enter basically the second half of the year, because Purim and Yom Kippur are 6 months apart from one another, right? On Yom Kippur, we get reflection. 6 months later, we were reminded of the same theme, but the opposite approach to that theme. And both are important. So we're about to switch into the next phase of the Jewish cycle where, before you know it, I know before I know it, I'm going to be back leading high holiday services with Cantor Lisa. We need to bring that optimism at home. We have to find those moments of celebration. That we wear those masks so much of the time. And Purim is a time for us to hide, in essence, right? Esther, this idea of Hester, of hiddenness. God is hidden in the book, just like there are so many things, just like coronavirus in a way. It is this hidden thing that we don't even see, and we have to figure out a way of dealing with that hiddenness. Purim is a reminder that God is also a hidden force, and that we have a responsibility to unearth that hiddenness, to bring it to light, to bring it to the forefront of our experience. So I really want you to remember this duality and the synergy between Yom Kippur and Purim. They are linked, and they are both about celebrating life. And in this time of what's happening in this country and in this world, we need to find those moments to celebrate life. Whether it's in a moment like this at Shabbat, whatever you are going to do in the coming weeks, you have to find ways of doing that. And so I really urge you to hold on to that theme of Purim. This idea of, as no matter how our lots are cast, let's seize the day, let's have hope. our concluding prayers, Alenu is found on the bottom of page 282, and we rise. We're trying to be as cautious as we can around here, so you'll notice there are tongs to use to grab food, there are wipes. Please don't take them and sell them on eBay for $40. You can probably make a killing on eBay with them. And so we're really trying to be as preventative as possible, so that's why at the end of the service, usually we would have put our arms around each other for Say Shalom in the closing song. We're not going to do that. It's really hard for me personally. I'm used to hugging, I'm used to handshaking, it's very tough for me. So keep that in mind. There is Torah study in Kaddish tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. In Midas, right across the hall here. The Books and Author series, And the Dead Shall Rise, the murder of Mary Fagan and the lynching of Leo Frank. The author of that book, Steve Onen, is going to discuss this fascinating court case with Laurie Levinson, who's a professor of law, Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Irvis campus. And then Purim, we are celebrating Purim on Monday night at the Irvis campus. An adult Purim starting at 7 p.m. A 70s theme, there's going to be a DJ, there's going to be dancing, there's going to be drinks and dinner and a spiel. So wear a 70s costume or just show up, but we'll have a good time then. Census, really important. The census, which sets the funding for the state for this neighborhood for the next 10 years, is taking place from March 12th through April 1st. And Koreatown specifically is considered both one of the most challenging areas to get a realistic census because of the variety of languages, the fact that people live very close together. The Karsh Center is doing a lot of work to try and help get people to sign up for the census. The Karsh Center is actually a census location where people can come in and do the census itself. But if you want to find out more, if you want to be a part of going around in the neighborhood and actually helping get people to sign up for the census so that we can get the funding we need, and also a clear indication of actually how many people in homes and homeless, everyone is to be counted, which is also a very Jewish value. Please contact the Karsh Centers to find out more about that. Any other questions? No? Okay. Remembering this month those who have passed away in our community: Margot Daniel, Sherry Helfont Malone, Leslie Leventhal, Marshall Mintz, Charlotte Modell, Andrea Lynn Pennington, Mark Stephen Schwartz, Nelson Schrager, Joe Stabler, Sandra Stein, and Janet Holt-Tenser. We remember the yard sites of those from this past week from our community: Dorothy Adlin, Mordo Ben Altabet, Jack Armel, Alfred Burke, Leonard Berman, Ann Rosen, Karen Bohm, Paul Borden, Ruth Bronte, Helen Brownlee, Irving Birkin, Norma Candid, Jack Chinsky, Sylvia Chizek, Herbert Urich, Inez Eskowitz, Helen Felsenthal, Max Fisher, Evelyn Fox, Senta Fox, Monty Friedman, Benjamin Gelfond, Harry Gilfenbane, Marlene Goldblum, Mickey Goldman, Shirley Goldinger, Stanley Grinstein, Harry Harris, Jack Hertz, Evelyn Honoroff, Louis Jacobs, Nat Jenkin, Gene Jones, Arthur Josephs, Shifa Karkomi, Iran Karman, Ibrahim Kashani, Leanne Klappeholtz, Gordon Kopald, Marcus Labe, Jay Lentz, Oscar Lerman, Lois Levy, Jean Leiber, Cindy Lowe, Timothy Magnan, Lillian Mark, Arnold Mass, Wayne Myers, Jerry Mayerson, Naima Naeem, Nori Nelson, Ida Noensen, Shirley Oakham, Rhoda Ordever, Irvin Part, Michael Polivoy, Arlene Price-Larsky, Adrian Ratner, Esther Redinger, Marshall Risman, Sarah Rosen, Patty Ross, Milton Rowan, John Rubin, Ruth Sabin, Lillian Schmidt, Tina Schuschman, Albert Serlin, Billy Schlobin, Buddy Schreier, Leo Sirota, Nathan Spielberg, Sam Steinberg, Nicole Shawatsky, Regina Tarika, Linda Tepper, Louis Trentalis, Robert Valas, Alexander Wasserman, Shirley Weinstein, Anna Weissman, Florence Weiss, Yale White, Maurice Wilsnick, Emmanuel Winderman, and Harold Zlotnick. Any other names you'd like to add to our list tonight?
Aida Barba.
If you're in the period of Shiva, anyone in the period of Shiva, 7 days before passing, if you're in the period of Shloshim, first month, since the passing of a loved one, if you are here to commemorate a yard site, or you're here in the first year of mourning, if you could please rise. I ask all of us to rise and stand with the mourners. Page 294. Yikara v'yikara shmei Rabba, ve'alma tikrav yirutei ve'amich v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv yiru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba nevorach le'olam v'lamei maya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitbahar v'yitramam v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei Kedusha b'richu. Le'geila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata, da'aviran me'alma v'yimru amen. Yehishlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrama, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrama, together. I'll go get one.
Great.
We'll join together.
We'll join together.